All right, check it out. If you are a foreman working for a home improvement contractor, I want to talk today about some things that you should demand on every job that will make your job easier, make you look like a rock star, and in turn make the company more profitable and all that good stuff. All right, so the first thing that you have to have on every job is a clear scope of work. What the hell are you doing on the job, right? How many times has your boss or the estimator or somebody in your company just said, here's the address, go paint the house, go build the deck, go build the pond, put the patio in, whatever, and then you get to a point in the job and the homeowner says to you something like, oh, I thought this was included, or I didn't think you were doing that. Listen, I watched a pond company build this amazing natural looking waterfall one day, and it was beautiful. The guy building it spent like 8-10 hours on this thing. Homeowner comes home at night and says, oh, I thought I was going to have one that looked like this. Okay, that would be important stuff for the guy in the field to know, right? So make sure that you have a clear written scope of what is included, what's not included, what's happening on the job, and what's not happening on the job. The second thing, you have got to have the man hours. How much time was this job bid for? Listen, Parkinson's law says that the time needed for a task will expand to the time made available. All right, so if I'm given no time frame to paint this room, I'm going to take however long it takes me. If I'm given 4 hours to bang the walls out, guess what? I'm going to do them in 4 hours in most cases. So you need to make sure that your estimator is handing you a clear scope of work with hours that are attached to it. Okay, by task, ideally, like, hey, dig the hole, 4 hours. Move the crap from the front yard to the backyard, X amount of time, man hours, total people. Can't do it by task, do it by section of the job. So what are all the things in the preparation phase? What are all the things in the build phase? And what are all the things in the finish phase? So prep might be, if we're painting this room, it might be getting the room ready, moving the furniture to the middle of the room, covering it with plastic, taping, doing some patching, everything up until we open a can of paint. Then we're in the the build or the doing the work thing. We're actually going to paint the room. And the finish might be pulling the tape, vacuuming the room, putting the light switch covers back on. Break it down at least into 3 ways for the hours, okay? That is something that you have got to demand, all right? So, material. Sorry, you can't read my writing. Material budget. How much paint? How many tons of rock? What are we going to need? Okay, those things are super important to know. I'm not going to beat that up because it kind of goes hand in hand with the point I made about the material or the hours, right? Okay, equipment, same thing. These should all be one, but what equipment am I going to need? How are we going to get up way up high? How are we going to dig this thing? All right, you should have that on paper, what the estimator was thinking when you were doing that. All right, a couple more things here. Job site info. Who do you call if you get locked out, if the dog gets out? All right? Is there an alarm that we need to set? Is the water sprinkler going to go on in the middle of your workday? All right? What's happening on the job? Safety concerns, things like that. Other trades working. You need to have that stuff. All right? Looking at my notes down here. Sorry, I got a lot of notes. All right, number 6, probably the most important one, to be honest with you. I call this pain and promises. Your sales guy went out there, or estimator, and basically talked to this homeowner about all these things, or this customer about all these things that are important to them. That's how you got the job, all right? That's why you have a job to run as a foreman. What's important to them? Was cleanup really important to the client? Well, guess what? You should know, all right? What promises were made? Salespeople make a lot of promises. And so your salespeople need to make sure that they're jotting things down on this scope of work, on this sales to production handoff sheet, whatever you want to call it. Make sure that this stuff is communicated, all right? Example I use all the time, we painted a house and this woman had twins and she never got any sleep. And I asked her, I said, what is the worst thing that can happen when we come and paint your house? And she leans over the table, we were sitting at her kitchen table, she goes, if you wake my babies up at nap time, I will kill you. All right, because that was like her time for peace and quiet. So I damn well made sure that my foreman knew that was the most important thing. And when he went out and met with the homeowner before the job started, he says, hey, listen, Tom mentioned to me that your kids take a nap. What time did they take a nap? Okay, what happens there? When they tell a salesperson somebody, and then a few days later, the foreman shows up and he brings up stuff they talked about, their trust level goes up. Their respect for you goes up. Okay, because now they start taking you seriously. And so my foreman, he made the decision, he moved the work day. We started an hour or two later, which was cool for the guys, they were happy. We pushed our lunchtime back to I think 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And that's when they took lunch, and they took an extended lunch, and they worked a little later that day or whatever they did to get it done. But the bottom line is he worked with it and fulfilled the promise I made as a salesperson. All right, last thing. Signed paperwork and a deposit check. This is ultimately the estimator's job or the sales guy's job. But before you go out there and start unloading tools and stuff, make sure, help cover the sales guy's ass a little bit. Okay, make sure like, hey, where's the signed proposal? Do I have a signed proposal? Do they know that we're coming out to do all this work? Has it all been approved? All right, and then getting that deposit check, okay, will ultimately make sure you get paid on payday. All right, so we want to make sure, just to cover the butt of the salesperson, that we have signed paperwork and deposit check and all that good stuff. All right, so guys, check this out. If you demand this stuff, clear scope of work, the hours, the material, what equipment's going to be needed to do this job, any important job site info, the payment and promises made by the salesperson, and make sure our paperwork and our money is in order, you are going to run a project that's going to be a great experience for the homeowner. It's going to be great for the company. You're going to look like a rock star. You're going to be a hero, and you are going to make yourself indispensable in your company. Motor Hard.